Oh yeah, go ahead. All right, good evening, everybody. It's gonna be a long night, I guess. Let's try that again. Good evening. Thank you. I've been working all day, so if you want a good power hour here, I need to get some reciprocation here, right? So this talk kind of started as 3 things, and then I changed it down to 1 because my personality is like more is better, but what I've learned is that for most people, less is more. So I really kind of cut it down. So hopefully you can all walk away with a couple of really key concepts. And then what I've done is I've sort of, because otherwise we'd be here till like midnight tonight. So what I did is I took the other parts I was going to cover, and I've created resources as to be able to plug in to still get that information, all right? So what we're really going to hammer down on is where your immunity comes from, how to strengthen it, and understanding that the brain-gut connection is absolutely critical to not only your immune system, but ultimately life and death. And when we find that, you look at this here, this is looking at your human microbiome, that there are 500 to 1,000 different species that live in your intestine alone. Which is crazy, right? 1,000 different species that live on your skin, 60 species in the urogenital tract, 600 species in the mouth, pharynx, and respiratory system. So I always think it's funny when people, I was in Whole Foods, and if this is what you do previously, there's no judgment here, but there was a lady that was walking around where she had gloves on, and then she also had the little what do you call them, little micro white cloths, so whenever she would touch something, it wasn't actually touching something, because of course she was afraid of getting the germs. And I'm like, lady, you have 1,000 different types of bacteria on your skin right now. You really think a little you're gonna somehow avoid the one that's gonna make you sick? And I'm not making fun of her because it's an ignorant thing, right? But we see that the way the medical model and the medical system has brainwashed you into thinking that the protection against germs is somehow the key to having a long, successful, healthy life. I'm actually going to show you the opposite, that the key to have a long, successful, healthy life is to actually have as much germs as possible going on inside of your body, in and around your body there. So I know that's going to blow your minds, but that's okay. That's what it's all about, all right? So this right here,
that right there blew my mind.
if you've ever wondered what's going on in your body right this very second, that's it right there. That's every single biochemical pathway and process that is happening inside of each and every single one of your cells in your body right this second. How amazing were we created to be, right? That's happening. All of this is happening right now. It's so small, even when I get this close, I still can't even read it. It's all happening every single second without you even thinking about it, right? That's amazing to me, okay?
That's in every cell?
Every single cell of your body. Yep. Every single one of your trillions of cells, your 6 to 7 trillion cells that you have inside of your body. So it's like if you ever, thought your spouse was complicated, there's the living proof of that right there, right? So when we talk about the immune system, most people, you think about, your glands, right? Your tonsils, your adenoids, or your immune glands, your sinuses, right? But 80% of your immune system, 80% of what controls your immune system is actually found inside of your digestive system. So ultimately, when you think about that, that's a very, very, very important thing. Because if you have a gut issue, then by nature, right, going back to that picture, you have an immune system issue. And when you think about all the people that are getting sick, all the people that are getting cancer, all the people that are dying from those things, and the key that man's process is, right, it's well, let's dump more chemotherapy into the body, right? More radiation. Let's cut out some organs versus let's get down to the cause of where the problem is coming from in the first place. And then 80% of your immune system is controlled by the health of your digestive system, all right? So sick gut means sick body, okay? And then the nervous system is, of course, what ultimately overrides and controls your digestive system. So these two systems alone, again, not what about necessarily what you think about when you think of the immune system, but those are the two important systems right there for your body and your immune health. So the number of cells in a human body is 10 trillion, all right? That's an incredible number. Your brain cannot fathom that number. The number of bacteria inside of your body is 100 to 400 trillion. So you are literally more bacteria than you are human. You can put that in perspective, right? You're actually just like a human kind of being carried around by a bunch of bacteria. So you have 3.5 pounds of bacteria living inside of your body. That's a lot, right? And your brain weighs about 3 pounds, okay? So, or some of you maybe a little bit less than that. But 10 to 40 times more bacteria in your body than you have human cells, which is crazy. And it's something we don't think about. It's something you don't focus on. And you say, well, I take probiotics to build my gut health. Well, there's over 500 to 1,000 different types of bacteria in your digestive system. So when you buy your nice like $80 bottle of probiotics from Whole Foods and you think you're doing awesome, and you look on the back on the label tonight and you're going to see there's maybe 4 different types of bacteria, you're going to realize that's very disappointing because you're not even getting 1% of what exists inside of your body. So the key to really getting a healthy organism is not just by buying a probiotic, whether it's cheap or expensive, right? Because ultimately you're just barely scratching the surface, which is why I don't sell probiotics anymore, because it's kind of like trying to throw a pebble into the ocean. It's like it's just not going to do anything really, ultimately of value. So if you just walk away with that right there, you can tell someone that you're more bacteria than human. You actually would not be insulting them, at work tomorrow. So, and here's a look on the inside of your digestive system. And I want you to see the difference between a healthy versus a diseased. And this is looking down like the tube, right, like a colonoscopy type or an endoscopy type scope. So this one right here is normal and healthy. And actually, I'll show you one that's this is not even like a great healthy. This is like kind of like just barely above average right here. This one is what it looks like when a person has inflammatory bowel syndrome or IBS, okay? So you see how instead of seeing blood vessels, right, a nice kind of smooth mucosal line, you see how the ridges are just like all swollen and kind of, just not well defined there. This one here is ulcerative colitis, okay? So you can see there's literally the ulcers inside of that. I know it's gross, but like this is what happens to people and more people. And then Crohn's disease, you can see, is so swollen here, you really aren't really sure like where the food is supposed to go as it's going through there, right? So this is actually what a very healthy digestive tract looks like. So you can even see the difference between this one here. So you see how much more defined the blood supply is and the capillaries are. And you see how it's kind of slippery? You can see how it's kind of shiny and slippery. What that is that's actually mucus, all right? It's a specific kind of mucus that coats your digestive system. Well, I'm going to say your gut from now on, because it's just easier to say. And that's nice because that allows things to really slip and slide through it, ideally not get stuck and cause issues there. So one of the main and the first things that breaches if your gut begins to break down or become what's called leaky gut, all right? It's because the mucus lining actually begins to get eaten away and get torn away, and then it's easier to penetrate through that digestive system. So a bad gut, again, equals a weak immune system. Typical causes are going to be vitamin deficiencies, a high carb versus and a low fat diet versus the opposite of that, right? Versus a high fat, low carbohydrate diet. And then SIBO, which stands for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, all right? Now SIBO is a very interesting condition, and this is one of the kind of the hallmark signs. This is a lot of bloating, a lot of gas, flatulence, right? A lot of burping, right? That's typically a SIBO problem, and it means that when your stomach Okay, the next step after your stomach is going to be your small intestine. The next step after that is your large, and then it's your colon. What's happening is that the bacteria, the bad bacteria within your small intestine are overgrown, so when it hits that section there, it's fermenting, and therefore you get it produces gas and kind of bloating. Think of like a carbonated beverage. Like you shake it up too much, and like you got the gas expansion there. That's what happens if you have SIBO, okay? So you typically feel it a lot in your stomach, but it's not actually your stomach where that's happening. Poor sleep actually also leads to a bad digestive system, because think about it, if you're not resting, and if your brain is intimately connected to your digestive system, if you're not resting your nervous system, you're not resting your gut as well, and so therefore it can't recuperate and recover from the damage that we put it through. Lack of oxygen, so again, not getting enough oxygen, so that blood supply into your digestive system, okay, into your gut. If it can't get proper blood, number one way to induce that is exercise, right? Then of course it's going to break down, it's going to atrophy, and then digestive distress, which I'll talk about in a minute, and then stress hormones too. So everybody kind of knows the stress thing intuitively, because if you're really nervous about something or really stressed out, where do you typically feel uncomfortable? Yeah, you get the stomach in knots or the butterflies, right? It's a real thing. It's because the stress hormones actually shut down or kind of goof with your digestive system. So that's why, like, just one easy tip right there is that if you're eating on the run a lot, eating on the go, okay, and you're not taking time to slow down and chew and eat your food, if you're slamming it down, you're eating in a stressed situation, which means there's no way your food can get properly broken down, properly assimilated, properly digested, and therefore it's going to create digestive issues long term. Think about it, if it gets from your stomach through there too fast and it's not broken down by the stomach acid too much, now your small intestine and your large intestine, which really aren't designed to break down food, have to pick up some of the slack, and it's very, 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 very hard on it. It causes damage. Kind of like what you saw there in that gut picture before. So leaky gut, again, comes from intestinal inflammation excuse me, of the gut lining, which then leads to nutrient malabsorption. So my favorite analogy to use is you think about a garden hose, right? When it's brand new, it's fresh, it's nice and sealed, but if you leave that garden hose out in the sun too much in the summertime, right, it's going to get cracked, it's going to get dry, it's going to be more easy and prone to leakage, right? Or if it bends, it's more apt to break versus kind of be moldable. So then what happens is you turn your water on and like little streams and kind of like squirts start coming out of there. Well, that's what happens when you get leaky gut. So if you think about your intestinal lining, which should normally be a nice, strong garden hose, it's ultimately a tip, right, that goes from here and ends there, right? That's ultimately what it's one long tube that kind of wraps around a little bit. If there's little cracks or gaps, okay, within your digestive system, then things that should normally pass through there normally, right, are going to begin to squirt out and get into your bloodstream, get into your body, places where it doesn't belong, right? So then your nutrients that you're eating, you're not absorbing properly. Now when those food particles and nutrients and other things that you're eating are getting out of your digestive system, your gut, then your immune system all of a sudden comes on high alert, and it's gonna say, wait a minute, you don't belong here. So then the immune system has to come in and start counteracting and taking care and essentially killing it, because if there's something that doesn't belong, even if it's normal and natural, but it's not where it's supposed to be, then your immune system has to kill it, right? So you get an immune response from that. And that happens over and over and over again, right? Then you start getting GI issues, and because your immune system is essentially attacking food and beginning to repeatedly recognize food as an enemy, then it begins to create something called food sensitivity or food intolerances, which eventually leads to food allergies, right? And then when that eventually, because your immune system is now attacking itself literally, right? Well, what is that? I don't care what you call it, that's an autoimmune disease. Okay, when your body attacks itself, that's autoimmune, it's killing itself. So you could call it fibromyalgia, you could call it multiple sclerosis, you could call it Crohn's disease, you could call it ulcerative colitis. At the end of the day, body attacking itself, not good. But where does it come from? It came from a breakdown. Originally, again, it's always about the cause, a breakdown here of the intestinal inflammation and gut lining. So we have people with really bad autoimmune diseases, and you fix their gut. It doesn't happen overnight, to fix the gut, but even once you fix the gut, they don't just heal overnight, right? But when you get that process, instead of going like this, where you begin to actually correct the cause of the problem, then the body starts healing, you start absorbing nutrients better, less and less of an immune response, body stops attacking itself, the immune system calms down. Okay, it's amazing, amazing, amazing stuff. But what does medicine do? They recognize, oh, well, patient Y, patient X, patient A, Z, whatever, has an autoimmune disease. What are we going to do? Let's just shut off the immune system. Brilliant, right? And like at the end of the day, like, yeah, it makes sense, but when you shut off your immune system, it's not like it can just like magically pull some strings, right? If we go back to this picture right here, it's not like, oh, let's just shut off this part right there. It doesn't work that way, okay? When it shuts down your immune system, like think about like a steroid, for example, it's like, let's just shut down this, okay? That's why it's so harmful and destructive to the body. It's because it's not selective. It's just blasting the whole body and trying to shut it down, okay? So then again, treating the symptom, and when you treat the symptom and not correcting the cause, the body gets worse, and why the majority of autoimmune drugs, okay, like Humira, for all kinds of other things for these bad drugs here. Does anybody know what the most common and typically worst side effects of autoimmune drugs are? Think about shutting your immune system down. What's something that'd be really, really, really bad if your immune system sucks? To cancer, right? Your immune system protects you against cancer, so that's why you listen. You're watching the news, right, or whatever. You're seeing these drugs on for whatever autoimmune disease. You'll always hear on the little side effects as the lady's like prancing around happy, and it's like, it's never like that actually. They always list it off and say, increase your risk of serious infection and cancer, because of course it does. If it shuts your immune system down, it's not like it's like, oh, well, we're going to leave the part that protects you against cancer intact. They can't do that. All right? Yeah. So we got to get to the cause of the problem. So again, gut inflammation, all of these things cause damage. And so again, we're talking about the cell here, it cracks, opening up, and then these particles are slipping through the cracks and they shouldn't be, and then it leads to, so it's this chain reaction. So it's not necessarily what you're putting in. Of course, though, if there's toxic food particles, drugs do it, and bacteria that aren't supposed to be there, and you're too many toxins, too much stress, that's going to create this type of problem. But again, it always goes back to cause. Now, this is an example of one of the functional nutritional tests that we do in the office called the metabolics test or the organics test. And what it does is that it measures, instead of just measuring the end product, it measures all the intermediary steps in that one. Again, I'll just refer back to that crazy picture without going back to it every single time. It actually finds out the intermediary steps, so that if something is breaking down or is broken down, we can figure out the cause of where the problem is. So Indican is a measurement of leaky gut, all right? And it's a specific type of overgrowth of a bacteria that when this shows up at a very high level, it means you have leaky gut and also small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So again, if we can correct the cause of that problem, which this patient we did after about 90 days, so her number, which the green is normal, the diamond is where she was, so she was out of balance right there. She went from 74 down to 29 here after about 90 days, and there was the results for her. Pretty cool, right? Sorry, it was 6 months, yeah, I forgot, 6 months. So you can see she dropped 50 pounds in that time. Why? Because we got rid of the gut inflammation going on inside of her. And it's not to say that every single person that needs to lose weight, it's the gut issue that's doing that, but it is if we know what it is based on testing, right? Which is why the motto is guess or don't guess, test. So when we see leaky gut, these are the medically known conditions that it affects. Thyroid conditions, Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, Graves. Graves and Hashimoto's are the autoimmune versions of thyroid conditions, hypothyroidism, of course. Constipation, diarrhea, inflammatory bowel disease, adrenal fatigue, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, headaches, joint issues, right, because the inflammation going on. Getting sick all the time, right, because remember your immune system, right, and your gut. And then also, because again, the connection with the brain, ADD, ADHD, anxiety, depression. Now, here's why I want to focus on this right here. What condition is skyrocketing in kids right now in the United States? Yeah. And from pretty much birth, what are kids fed?
Cereal. Sugar.
Yeah, I mean, sugar, McDonald's, processed foods, what else? Sodas, what else? Wheat, grains, yep. Not just wheat, grains. What's that?
Dyes.
Yeah, food dyes, right? All the toxins in through all that. Guess what all that stuff does to the gut lining? It destroys it, right? It destroys it. And so we look at our kids, fed those things from birth, right? Pretty much. And then we look at the rates of ADD and ADHD in America versus other countries in the world. And it's like, can we really sit back and like honestly say, God just must have gave American kids bad brains. Or it's like, oh, well, thank God we have, Adderall and all these other medications that we can give our kids because they need it. It's like, well, do they need it? Maybe they need it, but what was the cause of why they needed it in the first place? Right? We did it to them. And this is not, I guess this is me bragging, but at 2 years old, my daughter has never had a grain. She's literally never had one of those little goldfish. And those are like snack, or Cheerio, or what are the little snacks you like 2 year old? She's never had one of those things, right? I'm not saying that if you did that to your kids or grandkids that you're bad, right? But we have made that decision. Doesn't mean is she gonna have a grain at some point? Of course. In fact, we were, where were we? Oh, we were at Thanksgiving. And it was a buffet, and we didn't eat perfectly, right? Because it just wasn't that kind of buffet. But we were just like kind of looking at desserts, and I was holding my daughter like this, and she's like kind of antsy. It was time for nap time, and she like leaned over, and I was like talking to my wife, and she literally like just like leaned over and like grabbed a Swedish fish. It was like I don't know why it was even there, and she popped in her mouth before we could get it out of her. I'm like, okay, well, I guess at 24 months, your first exposure to sugar, like, I think we did all right with that. But she just snuck one in, and then she's like, yummy! And I'm like, no! And I slapped her real fast. I'm kidding. That's what my friend, he was like, for conditioning for my children, every time we drive by McDonald's, it's like Pavlov's dog. I point out the McDonald's and I slap my children and make sure they have a negative association. But again, it's like causation, right? And it's like you can't even say somehow that like it's genetic because in some way, shape, or form, you can trace your genes back to your country of origin, right, where you and your kids are from. Ultimately, like, you don't see the same levels. So it's not like you can't blame it on genetics. It's what we are doing environmentally and internally and nutritionally to our kids, okay? So you want to correct the cause of these issues. Again, stop treating the symptoms, okay? Get to the cause of the problem. So then you see what we're up against as far as just so much misinformation, lies, marketing, right? Brainwashing. I read a stat the other day. The pharmaceutical companies spend $50 million a day brainwashing you all into buying their products. $50 million a day. Wow. It's times 365 days a year. I mean, it's insane, right? And you wonder why. It's like I could say, pop, pop, fizz, fizz, and you all say, yeah, exactly, because it's just, you just know it, right? So here's the eat well plate, right? And you see, oh yeah, fruits and vegetables, that's good, third of your plate. And you got meat, fish, eggs, beans, that's good. Some food and drinks, high in fat, sugar, you gotta keep those small. Milk and dairy is huge. Look at the grains. It's like, this is the eat well plate. It's like all inflammation and damaging right there, right? And here's like a standard. People will tell me, oh yeah, no, I don't eat out, I cook at home. And it's like, well, if you're cooking this at home, right, what do you have here? You have potentially, probably not homemade pasta sauce. It's probably store-bought. Not that they're bad, right? But definitely grains right here, right? And here's the quick on-the-go meal. You got your French fries and fried and trans fats, bad oils, right? You got your wheat bun there, your non-grass-fed burger with cooked in bad oils, right? That's the on-the-go meal. Here's this, kind of a standard American breakfast. I think this is the tremendous 12, right? You got your pancakes and your hash browns and your bacon and your sausage and your eggs. At least you got the eggs, right? It's probably cooked in canola oil, okay? And then, of course, you have here the complete, famous meal. And like this is like, I would call this meal probably the best name for it on the menu. It's like, I'll have number 7, the Widowmaker. You know what I mean? Like this is really like all bad stuff right here. Really. But is this not, in some way, shape, or form? And I know like most of you have begun to move away from this or are very far away from this right here. But this is what the average American public is doing, right? Like again, I mean, come on. How many of your friends think that that's a really healthy meal? Like super healthy meal. You're like, well, I would put that over, an avocado and like coconut oil, every single day, right? Because that's high in fat, right? What's the deal? So again, remember when you're thinking gut, you also need to be thinking brain. There's a saying in kind of functional nutrition that says fire in the gut, fire in the brain, or fire in the brain, meaning fire in the gut. They are basically synonymous. So meaning if you have a gut issue of any kind, you also have a brain issue, whether you know it or not, right? Or if you have a brain issue, okay, you also have a gut issue going on because your gut is also literally, by medical doctors, referred to as your second brain. So what's going on in your gut could be affecting your brain. So this cartoon says here, look, I know this sounds crazy, baby, but I feel like we have a real connection here, and it's your gut. It's like, they always say, trust your gut's feeling, right? This just came out December 1st. Parkinson's linked to gut bacteria. You can read the article on and on, right? And they're actually now linked the specific types of bad bacteria that are present in people that have Parkinson's. So what's Parkinson's? That's a disease of your what? Your brain, right? Your nervous system, right? So Parkinson's linked to, this is CNBC, this is not like, Quack Watch, right? Or Quack, TV. This is a reputable reporting source right here, okay? So Parkinson's linked to, you can look this up, it's still on there today, December 1st, and that's very recent stuff. So if you want to nourish your immune system, you need to nourish your what? Your gut, right? So fermented foods are one of the best ways to do it, and I would say probably the number one way to do it, okay? Fermented foods, so sauerkraut's a very common one right there. There's many ways to do it. They're making cucumbers here, or pickles, using cucumbers. Do cabbage, do beets, make beet sauce. Here's cabbage, they're making sauerkraut over here. Here's more too. So easy. If you don't know how to do it, you just buy some cabbage, get some salt, a few other ingredients, you get some glass jars, and you just Google how long, how much. Okay, it's very, 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 very easy to do. This is a superfood, all right? This is a superfood, these things are. Bone broth is another one. How many of you heard of bone broth, the benefits of bone broth before? So in your marrow, right, not just cows, but in any mammal's marrow, that's really where all the good nutrition is, the best nutrition. In fact, most, I'll say African countries or ancient civilizations, the marrow, being able to kind of like suck that out of there and eat that was really considered a delicacy, but also vital to being healthy because that's where all the major nutrition comes from. So when you get these soup bones essentially with the marrow still inside of that, and then put in a crock pot for like a day or so, and then you put all your vegetables and things in there, all that marrow essentially kind of leaks out into the soup and kind of just becomes like a nice, literally it just tastes like broth, right? Basically, that. There's many ways to make it. You can make like a chicken soup version, or beef is typically the most common one. I think it's the most nutritious because, especially if there's grass-fed beef bones, because you think about all the, if a cow is eating grass its entire life, I mean, think about how much grass a cow's eaten before to be like, 1,000 plus pounds or whatever they weigh. That's a lot of grass, right? If they haven't had anything else. So you think about all of that nutrition from the grass going into the cow, like that's power packed, okay? So you're getting that massive nutrition. Also, your bone marrow is where your immune cells are ultimately made. So your gut controls that, but the bone marrow is what kind of puts out your immune system there. So you're eating essentially immunity by eating bone broth. Okay, so very important to do. Again, very easy to make. I'm telling you, you can buy soup bones for very cheap. Most butchers would practically pay you to take them off their hands because they don't know what else to do with them, right, except for throw them away. But ideally, you're finding a farmer or someone where you can get grass-fed. Okay, you want that is really a lot better. Okay, so there's farmers markets. Again, most people pay you to take it off their hands. It won't cost you very much to make this kind of stuff. Okay, and it's delicious. You can freeze it. You can store it for the winter unthawed. I mean, one crock pot will easily make this much. You know, and you can have it like as a meal. Or you can have it almost as like a tonic, like an elixir almost. I know it seems weird, but like you just do like kind of a shot of it a day, a couple times a day. It's very, very, very healthy for you. So yeah, fermented foods like crazy, and that is ultimately going to save you tons of money because high-end probiotics cost $50 to $60 or more, and you're pretty much only going to find like the one I carried had 20 billion species, right? So remember, you have 100 trillion, so think about 20 billion, like, ooh, that's a lot, because you'll see other ones and it's like a billion, but it's not a lot. A serving of sauerkraut will have trillions of probiotics within one or two bites, 1 or 2 tablespoons. So I just couldn't sell it anymore. It's just not even worth it. So just make it yourself and save money, and build your health and invest in it that way. So step 2. So again, building first. Along with that, we got to remove the immune system downers. Of course, processed foods are going to do that like crazy, right? All the trans fats in there, all the chemicals, all the GMOs and the genetically modified ingredients. If it's basically, I mean, any one of these products pretty much has grains in it of some kind, or soybean oil, or corn oil, or canola oil of some kind. All of that is genetically modified. And all of that, for those of you at my last seminar, the toxicity seminar, then you know that contains glyphosate in there. And glyphosate is just destroying our civilization. It's destroying our country, right? So you're eating Roundup, okay? That's what it is. Glyphosate is the active ingredient in Roundup, and that is just destroying your body. Grains, you know, I am on a mission. I mean, this, if you focus on 2017, you want just to make one nutritional change. If you 100% remove grains from your diet, you would be a brand new person. That's the number one thing I think that is destroying your body, because it not only destroys your gut, but the glyphosate in there is horrible for you. It destroys your immune system. The best way to think about grains going through your gut is like think about like little teeny razor blades. You slide through there, right? It just shreds it. Shreds it. You need leverage over yourself, and you really want to understand that. There was a popular book that kind of came out not too long ago called Grain Brain, and the other one is called Wheat Belly. All right, and it just talks about how grains are making us all fat. And you think about this. This is nature, right? If a farmer wants to fatten their cows up very quickly, what do they feed them? Yes. So how would it not do the same thing to you all, right? Or us? Okay, it does the same thing. Okay, fattens us up. Now dairy is interesting, and this may seem a little bit contrary to what you've heard me speak before in my nutritional seminar. So I want to make sure I'm very clear here. First and foremost, when I talk about dairy, I'm talking about pasteurized dairy, and I'm talking about dairy that has been essentially adulterated by man, all right? So heated, you know, all the fat taken out, right? Shoved with antibiotics and all kinds of other garbage. So first and foremost, no matter what, you've got to remove that, okay? Non-organic, everything. Now, on top of that, if you are trying to heal a known digestive issue or a suspected digestive issue, I even prefer to remove dairy out of even the healthy dairy out of your diet for about 90 days as well, okay? Just because dairy protein molecules are very large, they're very bulky, they're very cumbersome. I mean, if you think about it, they're really meant for a cow, right? A baby calf, right? So we're the only species, okay, right, that drinks milk from another animal, right? So it's like it's different. So I recommend even cutting out raw dairy, cream. The only exception, I just couldn't find another picture of all of them on there. The only exception would be butter. Butter is different in the body, so you would be able to continue to use butter. All right, so it's essentially no dairy except for butter. And if you're struggling with your gut and you've been trying really hard to fix it, but you haven't cut this part out yet, that'd be the next step. I mean, definitely if it's processed junk, you got to do that cold turkey, all right? Even the healthy stuff, though, I would advise cutting that out for 90 days. And, you know, if that sounds really, really sad, then you have to realize, well, are you addicted to it? It's not good to be addicted to really anything, except for maybe like spinach and coconut oil. But for the most part, you want to be addicted to certain things. If it like creates like, you know, stress response in you, then you got to like reevaluate, like, okay, what's your relationship with dairy going on there? Okay, so cutting that out. Obviously, sugar is going to destroy that too. And really the worst now would be artificial sweetener. Now, why do I have fruit on there? Yeah, I mean, fructose is the same as sucrose and glucose, or ultimately all turns into glucose inside of your body. So if you're having trouble losing weight and you think you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, check your fruit intake, all right? Because fruit was really designed to be nature's dessert, and you know, and instead it's become synonymous with vegetables in our society, right? If you're eating healthy, you're eating fruits and vegetables, and even fruits is listed first, right? Like it's like somehow like you should be eating an equivalent amount of those things, but it ultimately needs to be vegetables and like fruit, okay? So, I mean, if you want to go hardcore, I mean, I would challenge you even cutting out all fruit for a little while, except for maybe some lemon and lime, and watch. I bet you you'll get that scale moving a little bit again, and by cutting some fruit out of there. And I'm even talking like cutting the berries out, cutting the Granny Smith apples out, because that can, for some people, be holding you back, all right? And the sugar, right, affects your immune system. So just if you Google, this is just a screenshot, sugar suppresses the immune system, you can see all 334,000 results pop up for that. So most immunology research has found that it'll essentially lull your immune system to sleep for about 4 hours when you have sugar, okay? Which is crazy. Because when most people start getting a little bit of a cold, right, and they're getting sick, right? They're getting sick. What do most people drink?
Orange juice.
Yes, for the vitamin C, right? Which is like 40 milligrams in a big glass of vitamin C, which is nothing. That's like 1/50th of what I recommend on a regular basis. But how much? Look how much sugar is in a glass of orange juice. Is like 40 grams of fructose,
Well,
right?
they came out recently with a study that said drinking orange juice was bad for you.
Oh well, there's and I can show you 100, but yeah, it's just common. You're like, oh, what do? I need to drink orange juice. Well, you're literally suppressing your immune system. And on top of that, think about all of our poor friends and family members that have ever been diagnosed with cancer and gone through cancer treatment. What are they told? Eat whatever. Or even worse than that, when most people finish cancer treatment, you've seen this before on Facebook and stuff like that. How do they celebrate? They come out with a cake, right? I mean, come on, right? And it's like this is not like this is hidden secret knowledge. So they're never giving advice like cut down the sugar, reduce the sugar. It's like if you're trying to boost your immune system, chemotherapy, sure, but how about getting rid of the cancer or the cause of what even is going to make your immune system weaker? So step number 3, if you're writing these down, is going to be start nourishing your brain, all right? And we do that through keto power, all right? This is superpower, all right? It's nourishing your brain. Your stronger brain means stronger gut and vice versa. So ketosis is a metabolic process in your body that means you burn fat as a primary source of fuel instead of sugar. So how many of you like to have your body's primary source of burning is fat instead of sugar? Yes, okay. Because guess what? If you have fat on your body, then guess what it's going to want to burn? When it's available, it's already hanging out in there, right? So one of the best ways to get your body into ketosis quickly and sustain it is to also do something called intermittent fasting, okay? So when you intermittent fast, what it means is that instead of like fasting, like Jesus fasted in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights, that's like a fast, or if you fast for spiritual reasons, you might have done it for a week or whatever, that's different. What we're talking about is shorter pockets and actually a daily pocket of where you don't eat anything, or at least any calories, okay? So you're essentially fasting every single day, but it's just for kind of a shorter time frame. So essentially how it works is sometimes you eat, sometimes you don't. Pretty simple enough, right? And then the longer you don't eat, so the longer during the day you go without eating, the more your body's going to actually burn, okay? Because think about it, if it's normally used to sugar or carbohydrates, glucose coming in, and all of a sudden that pipeline dries up. Okay, if it's expecting it here, it's easy. It's like, come keep sending it to me. And then what does it keep doing? It's like, okay, you run out of sugar and it's used to burning sugar. It's like, give me more. So what does it do? It sends signals, eat, okay, give me more, give me more, give me more. If you dry up that pipeline, right, well then it's like, wait a minute, your body wants to live though. So what does it do? It turns its focus, boom, let's go for the fat. I got lots right here, let's go for that. That's what you want, right? I mean, even on a healthy person, there's a lot. I don't mean to say it like that, but like, yeah, it's just, that's normal. So what happens is you get your appetite under control, your mental focus goes up because ketones are the preferred fuel source for the brain. You get stable energy levels instead of this like high crash, high crash, high crash, high low, right? Your blood sugar balances, you get more sensitive to insulin. Okay, your cells turn over appropriately, which means instead of reproducing bad cells turning into cancer, you can stop that off. Your human growth hormone goes up, which means better muscle growth, better fat burning. Okay, increase in fatty acid oxidation, fat burning, right? And you can you can resist stress better. I mean, come on, how many of you would like to have just 2 of those things working at maximal capacity? Yeah, right? So along with that, it reduces hunger pains, blood pressure, inflammation, oxidative stress, cancer, and it lowers triglycerides and LDL cholesterol. So here's the 2 ways to do it that I recommend anyways, okay? So what you want to do is you want to fast for 16 hours out of every single 24-hour period. So meaning you don't eat, right? So if you see the blue on here is not eating, right? And then the red is when the person is eating. This is the beginner way of doing it. So what they're showing, and this is what I typically do, is a 1 to 9 window. So meaning you don't eat anything before 1 p.m. in the day. You start eating at 1, all right? And you can pretty much eat as much as you want in this range right here, but you stop at 9, all right? No food or calories after that. I know for most of you, like, that's not a big deal, right, here, but it can be, right? So if you eat snack late, grazer, right, just eat stuff, late at night. The key, though, if you think about that, Ben, is then from 9 p.m. all the way until 1 p.m. the next day. I mean, it's not actually true, but just think about it this way. When by not putting food in, your digestive system is not having to constantly work, constantly break down, right? So it has a chance to reboot. But also because that sugar is not coming in, that glucose is not coming in, during this phase right here, your body starts freaking out a little bit in a good way, and that's when it starts going for the fat cells, okay, for the fat energy. This is actually really easy to do.
Would you do this daily,
Yes.
daily? Oh, okay.
And it needs to be the same window, okay? You can't like flip-flop that window, like that's just like skipping meals is all that really ultimately ends up being. So you need to identify which window is gonna work best. I mean, most people for sure, skipping breakfast and having a little bit for the later lunch is the lot easier way to do it. Because most people, like, it's hard when you're like, your day's done, you're at home, you're on the couch, and if you stop eating at like, 3 p.m., like that's a long time to go before bed of not eating, right? But if you're not eating here, most of you are working or you're out doing whatever, and it's like when your mind is going, honestly, you don't even think about it, okay? And you'll watch how your body will actually change metabolism, and it'll hit a whole other level of energy. It's really amazing. Now, if you want to go warrior style, okay, and then what you do is you shorten that window down to 4 hours.
Wow. How long?
So you get to the results you want to be at. But think about it this way. Ancient civilizations, is that not what they did? Like, did they sit around a table 3 times a day and just have food, like, show up in, like, huge quantities? No, it's like, what would you do? You would leave the house, work, or hunt, kill, whatever, eat, and then repeat, right? It wasn't like eat, and then eat, and then eat, and then eat, right? And then eat some more, and then you're eating between your eating, and then it's like, we wonder why that's happened, okay? So I would not recommend that anybody in here just jumps to this, okay? Unless you've been doing some of this for a while or you have some experience with that, because you'll just hate your life, all right, for a couple weeks. But you can do this for 2 weeks, and you'll know what I'm talking about. For those of you who have done it, right, you know what I'm talking. Like, you get to a point where it's like this section right here is not bad at all. In fact, it's not even noticeably different than what you used to be. When you feel comfortable here, I wouldn't even go from 8 immediately down to 4. I would go to 7 next, and then 6, and then 5, and then go to 4 right there. Now, also what's powerful about this right here, and even this here as well, is that by shortening your window, okay, and it's not ultimately the goal, but it does help with this. I mean, you're just in general eating less, you know, because it's like, come on, you can't eat what you normally eat in an 8-hour period. You're just going to be stuffed to the brim, okay? Even if you don't eat a lot, your body just can't handle that. But so by eating a little bit less, and again, it's not ultimately what the benefit is, but it is one of the benefits of how that works out. And then you want to exercise, remember, in here, so anywhere in here. Ideally, and it's hard for most people because you work, right? The best, absolute best time to do is to work out right here, right before you start eating, because you'll get your maximal emptiness, right? So you're going to get maximal fat burning because your body's going to have to burn fat and for energy, or it's going to just shut down, right? So this is the best time to do it, but anywhere in here is going to be acceptable. This is okay too, like afterwards, but you're not going to get as much of a benefit doing there. And then again, if you work out really hard, you just got to be careful if you do it in here, and you're not going to be eating for like 5 hours. That's kind of tough to do too. So.
But it says eat small amounts.
Well, you're going to be in general. I mean, think about it. 4 hours. Like, how are you going to eat a huge meal and be done?
But it says during the fast.
Right. Yes. No. You're no. It's. I don't want you to worry about that. Just think about this. That's not the true warrior way. So. Yeah. I just stole this because it's a good visual, but don't worry about this. Listen to what my voice. Anywhere you want.
And sometimes it's easier if you shift it because then.
Well, but if you're gonna, you just need to pick. You gotta pick it and lock it in. Though you don't want to be moving, or you won't be at the same time. Okay. So this sounds crazy. Maybe I know to some of you, but it's really not. Okay. The only reason why it sounds crazy is you've been brainwashed to eat 3 huge meals a day and snack in between, right? That's the only reason why it's
What
crazy.
gives your body time to rest from digesting?
Correct.
And it can do all the other things.
Correct. Like healing, right? Essentially. Yeah. Digestion takes an enormous amount of energy. An enormous amount. That's why when you eat a huge meal, what does your body always want to do? Sleep. Because it's like, well, I can't handle anything more, so that's why it shuts you down. Okay.
How long can you do that?
You definitely, really. Yep. I mean, at some point, some people, they plateau, and then you maybe start feeling worse a little bit, but rare. I mean, I did it for like 6 months straight, and I felt great.
For 4 hours.
I didn't get down to 4. When I got below 6, just personally, I started not feeling good. But I probably burned a massive amount of just energy in a day just from what I do. So I wasn't able to get enough. I mean, just 100 people in a day is like this wasn't conducive to that much that little energy calories for me. Because I try to get like my normal like 3,000 to 4,000 calories in that window, and it's just like it was way too hard. So I go back to 8 and I get still 3 hours.
Dr. Barnes, can you do the coffee still in the morning if you're doing that 16-8?
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
Okay.
you can do the bulletproof coffee.
Okay.
But for beginners, it's best just to stick to that right there and just do it that way. So no calories. You can have black coffee. You can have water. You can have just like green tea or whatever outside of that window if you want to, but there's nothing else. Okay. Lots of water is very key. Now to nourish your brain, right, we want to have good quality fats, good quality proteins, right? So coconut oil, grass-fed meats, Atlantic, Pacific, right? Actually, not Pacific anymore. Don't buy Pacific fish. Why don't you buy Pacific fish? Right now? Yes, because the radiation from Japan has just flooded that ocean like crazy. So I don't eat fish really anyways, but I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. So, which here on the East Coast, you're not going to see a whole lot of that, but just be careful what you're buying in stores, right? So wild caught fish, raw nuts, right? Coconut products, coconut milk, coconut butter, which is delicious, by the way. Anybody tried coconut butter before? It's like, oh my gosh, it's so good. Avocados, butter, eggs, the whole egg, right? Grass-fed, raw cheese, quality whey protein, smoothies, right? Of course, you mix a lot of this stuff in there. And then MCT oil, which is also really coconut oil there, but MCT oil is really healthy for the brain.
Do you recommend something called ghee butter? Is that
Ghee? G-H-E?
something like that? Yeah.
Clarified butter, yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, it tastes different, so it's, to me. So you'd have to be aware of that. So this should be the majority of what you're eating. Right here. That's the majority. Okay? You put some grass in between all that. Okay? Some vegetables. So healthy, immune proteins. Remember, your immune system is ultimately proteins. It's specialized proteins, so you have to give it quality proteins to make that. Now, with bioactive whey protein, whey coming from grass-fed, free-range, non-GMO, non-chemical, non-antibiotic cows, right, produces a very high-quality whey, all right? And then, there is plant protein too as well. I really recommend people go with whey protein unless you're just absolutely 100% against that, but it's just much better if it's whey. And in these kinds of proteins there's a huge amount of something called L-cysteine, and L-cysteine helps your body detoxify too, so whey protein also helps you detoxify. Most of you already are doing this right here, this stuff, but I want you to know there's more benefits than just, you're making like a nice tasting smoothie, getting some protein. It actually does help feed your brain. And again, a lot of you maybe can remember this back when you first started making a smoothie for breakfast. You noticed better mental energy, that kind of change in that shift right there. Well, that's one of the main reasons why. Yes?
And when you say stay away from dairy, does that count?
No, because it's just separate. It's just a protein, yeah. So there's no actual dairy, the same dairy molecules in it. It's just separated out. It's just the protein structure out of it. Good question. Vitamin D, huge for the gut, right? Very anti-inflammatory. Of course, everybody knows that vitamin D strengthens your immune system. Ours, I know as I say 10 billion probiotics, and you all know that's really measly there, but it's just kind of nice that it's in there. But the main reason why the probiotics are in there is not really for the probiotics, but we found that probiotics are digested, vitamin D is digested and assimilated better when there's probiotics present. So it's more there as a cofactor and a co-absorber more than anything else, but it is nice that it does have some lactose-subtilis, which is a very unique one there. Max GI, so SIBO. This one right here, clove, thyme, and oregano oil are in these capsules right there. They kill bad bacteria. They kill the bad guys, all right? So these essential oils, which are in there, very, 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 very key. And there's also something called lysozyme in there. And lysozyme, think about a cell, okay, right? What it does is it punches holes inside of the gut lining, so it essentially just dies, okay? Like you think about like death by 1,000 cuts, it punches holes in all those cell walls, and it kills it off. And the Bacillus subtilis is the mother of all probiotics, so this essentially is a jump starting, so when there's this one here, it can turn into other different types of bacteria, so it's kind of like a upstream bacteria. When there's that in there, it kind of feeds all the other bacteria going all the way up. So you kind of get one main species feeds them all, and then potassium gluconate rebuilt. So for like bloating, gas, stomach issues, digestive enzymes, this is the easiest, best thing to take. Now, when I eat bad, like I'll have some bad meals or borderline bad meals here over the holidays. I will take this after a meal always, because the last thing I want to do is wake up with inflammation, or my system is not used to junk. So when I eat junk, I pay for it like real bad. So I take this. So when I'm traveling, if I know I'm going to be exposed to something I wouldn't normally be eating, like if I'm eating out, even if I'm choosing as healthy as I can, I'll usually take a couple of these after I eat or even before I eat, to kind of help minimize the damage from that. So it's not necessarily an everyday thing for me at this point, but it's a frequent enough thing that I need to do when I need it. Here's a microscopic picture of a cell, all right? And if you see how this is kind of like fuzzy and kind of like almost slimy looking right here, and you see how it's missing right there, right? See the difference? What you're looking at here is the mucosal lining underneath microscope. See how it's kind of blue and sort of squishy and gooey up there? This is how that process starts, okay? Where the mucosal lining breaks down, and now that makes this barrier more penetrate, right? If you think about slime and goo and ooze, right, it's hard for things to kind of move through that because it's sticky, right? It would get stuck. That's why when you're sick, you got snot that comes out of your nose because it's moving all the junk out of it because it can't like escape through because it's slimy, it gets rid of it. So when you lose that mucosal line, then now it's like you get rid of one layer of barrier. Now your gut line is immediately susceptible to all those toxins and grains and just shreds right through it, right? And then it enters into the inside of the cell where it shouldn't be there. Now it creates all sorts of bad reactions. So keeping a nice, healthy mucosal lining, very, very, very important. Number one thing that does that is L-glutamine, all right? Now, if you ever spent any time doing bodybuilding or weightlifting or exercise, L-glutamine is a popular, I guess, supplement. Now, it's amino acid that you get from food, but it's not large amounts. L-glutamine has been the number one thing that we've been able to find that repairs your mucosal lining. And it also repairs muscle tissue too. So it's good for like joints, muscle pain as well because it does repair all that. It's again amino acid. It also helps your metabolism, which again is why it's a common bodybuilder like fitness supplement. And it coats those cell walls. So I recommend 4 to 6 grams of L-glutamine a day. And usually, like this one's in a powder form right there, you can just pop it in a smoothie. It's really easy to take that way. It's very small amounts. It doesn't taste like anything, but it is there. The other one is N-acetylcysteine and glycine. This helps your body produce glutathione, which is an antioxidant, and it detoxifies, I'm just going to read this, detoxifies toxins produced by intestinal yeast and bacterial overgrowth, right? So it gets rid of the nasty byproduct that makes, and it stimulates immune function in the gut line. So it helps your gut line build up its immunity to protect it, and it helps the beneficial bacteria enhance itself. So it's good for your liver. This is also a powder. So I'll typically put these in my smoothies a couple times a week, just to keep that process rolling for me at this point. So easy stuff. Okay, to kind of summarize here, food pyramid.
I just wondered about the L-glutamine.
Yes.
Can you get that in foods?
Yeah, just not 4 grams. You don't need a heck of a lot of certain things. So remember, supplements are designed for fixing nutritional deficiencies, right? Like if you are low in vitamin D, can you eat salmon? Yeah, but in order to get 5,000 IUs of vitamin D from salmon, you'd have to eat 20 fillets a day to get the same amount, right?
Wow.
So if you have perfect vitamin D from birth because you were on a perfect diet from birth, like Inuits, for example, like they're eating fish, blubber, all that stuff from birth, like they don't have, even though they get no sun, they don't have low levels of vitamin D because they've been getting it from birth. So this is about fixing like nutritional deficiencies. So, but meats have it, like meats and nuts and seeds, that all has some glutamine in there for sure. Yeah.
If somebody's been diagnosed with
Diverticulitis or diverticulosis, or
right,
yeah.
the holes.
Yep.
Does any of those things start killing them?
Yeah, I mean that's a advanced
Right.
stage of all that, but yeah, I mean it does help for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you got to rebuild their mucosal lines. So even if they have little pockets or divots, at least things can kind of like slide and slip through there and out of there instead of getting stuck, cause issues, yep. So to summarize here, right? Standard American diet, sad, very sad, right? All the grains, carbs, bread, cereals, right, on the bottom there, right? And it's like fat is at the top, used sparingly. It's like, we flip that actually, and this is what ketosis or a healing diet food pyramid would look like. It'd be 65% fat, moderate amount of protein, and extremely low. Now this is not necessarily quantities, right? This is more calories and kind of quality of calories, but really you eat the majority of fat. Okay, this is how you do that. A little bit of protein and a little bit of like greens and vegetables like broccoli and asparagus, spinach, kale, things like that. But it's not necessarily as much as you think, all right? I mean, it's a lot, but it's not. This is like really the majority of everything right here. Which, like, come on, who doesn't want to eat steak every night and put some garlic butter on your steak, and then, you have like we took creamed coconut last night, which is delicious, and we cut up berries and put that, so it's kind of like almost like a pudding almost consistency. And put a few drops of vanilla stevia in there and mix that up. I'm like, oh my god, it was so good. Right, but there was like 30 grams of fat in my dessert, which is pretty awesome, okay? That's how I hit these numbers here and stay in a zone, fat burning zone, pretty much all the time, is because I'm constantly feeding my body with fat. So that's what it wants, okay? So again, here's how you kind of break down. This is kind of, I put my day on a little chart here. So I detox in the morning while I'm fasting. I work out later morning. I have that luxury, I can do that. I personally right now have been doing bulletproof coffee. Okay, that's the coffee, the grass-fed butter, and the coconut oil in the morning. I do a workout shake right after I'm done eating. That starts my window, right, of when I eat. I'll do some GI in there. I'll eat a couple meals. I take my supplements in this window right there. Then I fast again. I'll detox right before I go to bed, and then I sleep. Okay, so that's just sort of a generalized version of what I do throughout the day. But I'm detoxing when there's nothing else going on in my digestive system. Okay, because I can just get right to the bad stuff. Eat a couple meals. I eat pretty big meals here. I have maybe a snack in there if I need it. Take my supplements, of course, with my food for the most part. Work out right before I start my fast, or stop my fast. I mean, break my fast, and then a couple meals and detox, and I sleep. It's a good day, very good day. So the nervous system, again going back, and again most of you know all this, but it's never not a bad idea to refresh by this again, because it can be easy to get pigeonholed into like, I come in, I lay down, he snap crackles and back, pops my back, I get up, I jiggle, and then I leave, and it's like the value in what that does to your body can get lost in translation, because I make it look easy, but B, it's a fairly quick process, right? And I always tell people, and if you haven't heard this, I'll say it right now, when you pay for an adjustment, you're honestly, like, you're really not paying for the adjustment itself, okay? What you're paying for is the after effect, post-adjustment, right? It's the set, and it's the improvement of your nervous system, and it's the healing and improved function that takes place in your body after an adjustment, right? That's why, most of you have heard me say when I do an adjustment, I say power's on. Why do I say that? Because when we get the pressure off the nerves, even if it was just a little bit, the power increases in your body and it's on, maybe not at full capacity, but at a fuller capacity than before you lay down on the table, so that it can send those signals to every single function and organ and cell and tissue inside of your body. So this is Mark, all right, and you can see his x-ray here. See how it's curved pretty bad. You had a 14-degree curve right there, all right? There's an 11-degree curve on top. Does anybody want to know what this is right here, this black stuff? Say it.
Poop.
Gas and poop, yeah. Mark, when I first met him, he was full of it. Here's what's interesting. Here's what's interesting, though. Here's what's interesting. Spine controls your digestive organs, right? Or not the spine, but the nerves do. Spine protects that. The spine is kind of, for lack of a better term, collapsing on this side right here. Where's all the black stuff? On the same side. I mean, see this side? Mostly clear, right? So, it's just literally crushed. So all the signals that were exiting into his digestive system on this side, the gut on this side right here, those signals were not being received properly. So everything was building up, right? Getting worse and worse and worse. You got all these restless legs, because of course these nerves go down the legs. It was a diabetic, the low back pain, it was gaining weight, he was on blood pressure medications. Here was his post x-ray after 3 months, okay? So we cut that angle down to 6, and so 14 down to 6, 11 down to 9, right? It's a little bit wider, but look at it. Just a little bit up in here now, maybe a little bit right through there. Much clearer there, because we got pressure off the nerves in the body. So when a nerve gets choked off, the process of that is called subluxation. So everybody say subluxation. Yes, right, thank you. Because you can't tell your friends that you go to a chiropractor to get your submarines corrected, right? They would just think you're, what? Remember, nerves control every single part of your body. So when you ask me about your friend or your family member or your cousin or the neighbor you don't like, whatever, you're like, hey, this person has this problem going on with them. And the answer, and the question always is then, can you help them with that? My answer always is, if they have pressure on their nerves, and I can improve that or correct that, then my answer is always going to be yes, right? Because if it's caused by that and we can improve that, well then how would the body not heal, right? So that's always the question. It's like, well, my friend has allergies. Can you help them? If they have pressure on the nerves, so the organs that control their allergies or their immune system, then yes, I can help them, right? If they have, I don't know, if they have anal bleeding, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's controlling nerves going to their digestive organs or what would be causing that, and we can improve that, then their body can heal. Does that mean I have a magic wand that can cure everything? No, but why don't we start there first, because it's at least what controls every process inside of your body. So I know there's a few guests here tonight, which is awesome. So if you'd like to get your first appointment to get your nervous system thoroughly evaluated, and we do that, through specific testing, mainly X-ray, right? Because just like you have a normal blood pressure and pulse and temperature, your spine has a normal position to it as well. So if it's not normal, then we know it's putting pressure on your nerves. We just charge $60 for a referral price to get that done. Normally a couple $100 for if you call or walk in. All right. For tonight, we always like to honor everybody that comes here tonight, because I know a lot of you buy these products, and of course we just had a big sale, and I know that, so you probably got some of these things for cheaper than that. But I do offer 10% off at all my workshops or better, because anything that we have on our shelves is 10% off tonight. Next step. Okay, everybody pull out your phone. And open up Facebook, right? On there.
I don't do Facebook.
If you have it on your phone, open it up. Or then if you don't have your phone on you, then write down this action step. And make sure you like Greenway Health Center, we call it Greenway Health Center now, and Dr. Greg Barnes. Make sure you like that, because I post different stuff on all these different mediums, so you don't want to miss anything.
Well, did you change that on Facebook too?
I did, yeah, I think I did.
So I missed that.
So make sure you like that. Also on Facebook, that's where you can sign up to get my emails. How many of you are getting my emails? How many of you are not getting my emails? Okay, so yeah, so you would know that. But you can go on my Facebook and there's a button to click on email sign up and you'll get on there. And I send out 1 or 2 a week. Now, YouTube, this is where really all the magic happens right now. So if you're like, I was talking too fast or I missed that section, well, guess what? I'm filming it right there. And within a day or 2, it'll be on YouTube, all right? And I have like 5 or 10 or even way more than that other seminars that are on there right now. So if you want to go get refreshed on nutrition, I have a nutrition basics class about 6 months ago, same information on there right now. If you missed the toxicity seminar that I was talking about, glyphosate, Roundup, it's on there. If you ever aren't sure if your kids or your grandkids need to be vaccinated, I have a whole seminar on that right there, okay? All on YouTube plus testimonials. So if you ever have your friend, hey, could your chiropractor help me with blank? If you go to my channel, so if you type in, and this is Greenway Chiropractic still, I know it's confusing, I'm just working on fixing this. I don't have time to do all the Facebook stuff all the time, but if you search Greenway Chiropractic on YouTube and whatever issue they might have, I can almost guarantee you it will pop up, right? Even cancer, sciatica, headaches, migraines, it will be on there. And you can hear one of my patients talking about how they got better from what we do here. And it's like, you can't, if they don't believe that, then I don't know, whatever, they can just go fly a kite, it's okay. So make sure you're connected on these. I know it's annoying, but this is the world that we live in. And also, in like the next 2 weeks, there's a baby coming in my household. And so if you don't want to show up and have there be like locked doors and you're like, I didn't get the memo. Well, you missed the memo because you didn't get it somewhere on these right there, right? Well, Facebook, we'll make sure we hit it all right? Maybe I'll live stream me delivering.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sure your wife will appreciate that.
If my wife was cool with it, which she might, just depends upon her mood, I would do that, so. You might be surprised, birth can be a very enjoyable process if you got the right mindset with it.
That's what my problem was.
So, next events, okay? I'm wrapping up here, but these are very important. So next events. How many of you like food? How many of you like food that tastes good? How many of you would really like food that tastes good but it's also healthy?
Yahoo!
Yes, okay. So next Thursday night we are doing a recipe night, and it's focusing on holiday themed and centered foods. If you don't know what a recipe night is, what it is, it's a potluck that I host, but all the food is provided by like all of us, but also all of you as well. So basically everybody brings like a little dish to share, okay? Enough for, you know, a few people to kind of sample. And I mean, it's awesome, like we literally just eat. And you get to try approximately 25 probably new recipes that all are gonna be healthy, that probably you're gonna like 90% of them, and then you're gonna get all the recipes for everything there. So you're like, that one wasn't good, but oh my gosh, this is good. I'm gonna make this at Christmas. You have the recipe, you know it was dynamite, right? It's amazing. So if you wanna try and get a bunch of new ideas on food in a short amount of time, this is the night to come to, all right, next Thursday. What you'll do is you're gonna grab, we have recipes at the front desk, you're gonna grab a recipe that you think you can do. I promise they're all easy, okay? They're all very easy. But why don't you pick one that sounds like something you would wanna make for your family, especially if it tastes good, all right? And try it out. Well, we're here to help you and hold your hand if you want, if you need help with that. But that is your ticket in, is a dish. Now if you're a couple, you can, you know, one dish for the two of you, right? Maybe make a little bit extra for that. And then we are gonna come here, we are gonna eat. I'm gonna do a talk on goal setting and making sure your 2017, it's short, very short, we always do while you're eating. How to make sure 2017 you hit your health goals, you actually hit them, all right? And how the strategies for that. So that's next Thursday. Unless there's a baby coming, which honestly if the baby's coming, we'll still do the recipe night. I just won't be here, all right?
What time is that?
We don't get to let.
It's gonna be 6:30, yeah.
And that's
So-
the 15th, right?
The 15th, yep, that's next Thursday.
Are these recipes different from the ones that you provided at your boot camp last year?
Yes, they're all different. They're all holiday themed. Like you're talking like holiday roasted turkey, like eggnog, stuff like that. Like it's all Christmas themed. Okay?
I need to figure out how to make a healthy one.
It's really easy.
Is it?
Oh yeah, I can make it in under 2 minutes.
Ooh.
So maybe you want to pick that recipe. If you would love that, okay?
Can't spike it though.
Hey, all right. Next couple events here too is how many of you got the email about the webinar I'm doing next, this upcoming Sunday, okay? So I'm gonna be doing a webinar, which is a seminar that you watch at your house on your computer, in your PJs if you want, right? Or whatever you wanna be wearing.
You said it's Sunday? I'm sorry, because I
Sunday.
have it on Monday.
It's Sunday.
Okay.
I might have posted that wrong, but it is Sunday.
Okay. 8 o'clock.
At 8 o'clock, yep. And if you aren't sure how to do all that, you can just write your name and your email on here and we'll register it for you. And you'll get a link in your email that at 7:55 on Sunday night, and you'll get an email to remind you too of the day of. You'll just click on the link in your email and you'll just it'll bring you to a web page where you'll see my slides and me talking, very easy. So I'm gonna be talking about what blood tests to make sure you are requesting from your medical doctor get the most information about you, okay? So I'll give you a list for that. And then also some very specific testing that I recommend based on any other health challenges or conditions that you have on how to get those run as well. So you can do that if you did either check your email or you can sign up right there for that.
Are you gonna have a replay of that?
If you register for it, you automatically get an email for a replay. So if you can't be on there live, if you can't be on that live, you still have to register, and you'll get a link like the next day to go click and you'll watch it. It's not real time, okay? Now if you're real time, it's cool. You can actually, a lot of you have been on, you can ask questions and like it's really interactive, but either way, you'll still get the information. All right. There's 2 more things. You can see them. We're starting Dr. Barnes Bingo. I've never done this before. This is something fun. So here's the big card right here, just if you want to know what it all is. You're all going to get one of these here tonight. This is your bingo card, okay? And there are specific action steps that you need to do in order to get these crossed off. And everybody knows how you make bingo, right? You get 5 in a row, right? Go in one direction or the other. And when you do that, if you make one line, let's say you make one line of bingo right there, just for fun. And they're all mostly easy stuff, like post a selfie while you're here to Facebook. Come on, you can take a picture, you know, with your head weights on.
Vibrating.
Not missing any adjustments in January. Then that's easy, okay? Write a Facebook review, share some of my posts. Like, they're all like really easy, but it should be fun. So if you get one line, you get 10 Barnes bucks, which is basically like a gift certificate. If you do an X, right, or an L, so kind of 2 lines that connect, you get a free bottle of vitamin D, which is pretty awesome. And then if you do blackout, which is the mother of all bingo champions, right? You get to run up and down the streets of your neighborhood yelling bingo. No, what you're gonna do is, what you get, and this is for everybody that gets this done, you're gonna get, I didn't know what else to call it, so I called it a platinum makeover experience. So, and I'll talk about the makeover in a second. In a product package, so you're gonna get 4 free VIP tickets to our February weight loss and healthy nutrition makeover. And then you're also gonna get free admission into our next makeover challenge that's gonna follow that. And you're also gonna get a supplement package worth 200 bucks. So it's not like it's gonna be super easy to get all of them, but I'm telling you, if you put some effort in, you're gonna be able to do that. And a lot of you, some of you have probably already done. So we'll verify that for you, okay? But that's gonna be awesome. So speaking of the makeover, and this is up through the end of January, all right, to get that done before question. Speaking of the makeover, so a lot of you participated in our weight loss challenge, our boot camp that we did last year, or last summer, this summer actually, this past summer. I'm doing a major seminar in February, on Saturday, February 11th. It's gonna be 3 hours long with a break, so you'll get a chance to do that. Where we're gonna go over tons of new stuff, tons of amazing stuff. There's gonna be a chance to participate in 2 different challenges following the seminar. There's a 21-day challenge, kind of just like, hey, let's get jump started, lose 3 to 5 pounds, here's how you do it. Then there's gonna be a longer challenge with like really intense stuff. So there's gonna be cooking classes. So if you like have no idea how to cook healthy food, you're gonna have a chance to go to cooking classes. That'll be part of the challenge. There's gonna be like shopping tours. So you're gonna show up like at a Whole Foods or Costco, and you're gonna learn how to shop for those stores and how to save money, label read, eat healthy. That's all part of the challenge. There's gonna be some amazing things. Plus, there's going to be like recipe guides, eating guides, so you don't have to think. And I'm revamping it all right now. So if you've done it before, I promise it's gonna be way better. There's a Facebook group that you get added into where I know a lot of you that did it last time. It was awesome. Like there was like constant stuff and encouragement and feedback on there. And we got a person that lost 40 pounds in, I think it was 60 days. The average person lost like 9 pounds during it. So it's not about the weight loss per se, but it's about getting your body healthier, and by doing so, weight is gonna come off, right? So this one is gonna have a charge because there is gonna be a lot of materials you get at the seminar itself that cost me money, so I can't do a charity here. But tonight, yes, tonight only, we're calling it early bird pricing. It's gonna be $10 for that. At the door, it'll be $47. Okay, so you're getting it for way cheaper. Or it's $15 for a couple or for a family. Okay, so it literally is gonna go up tomorrow. It's gonna be more expensive tomorrow. So you can register for that tonight. I know it's like way off in the distance, but how many of you know come January when your New Year's resolution has failed because you're trying to make up for the holidays, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna be ready for a kick in the pants, right? I will put myself in there as well too. So any skill level, any fitness level, any health level, we'll be able to do this and get results. I mean, I'm telling you, I've already been brainstorming the ideas, and they're gonna be sick. I mean, the cooking classes, number one, are gonna be awesome. So there'll be some live ones where you can show up and like actually get to make food and like learn how to make a healthy meal and like really fast. And there'll be some other ones where you can sit at home in your PJs, just watch online, watching other people teaching you how to cook, the people that I know and everything like that. So if you ever wanted to know how to make bone broth, for example, you can have a recipe on how to, you can watch someone do that and explain how to do this. Very easy, okay? So even if you suck at cooking, I'm actually gonna be tuning in because I know I'll get some brownie points with my wife if I learn how to cook better. All right, so that's the makeover. Obviously, you're going to hear way more about it as, you know, we charge through December and of course in January there, but I figured I'd let you all, since you're here, get a jump start on that tonight.
What time frame was it?
Maybe 9 to noon. Yep, on that Saturday at the Summit Church off of North kind of Departure Drive here. So, yeah. All right, so that is it. So thank you all for coming out. If I don't see some of you because there's a baby coming, I will see you after all that. Okay?
I need my desk, so it's not before 30. No baby.
Oh yeah. My wife would love it if it was tonight. Actually, she's really.
Yeah, I said to you.
She is like overcooked. She's actually not, but